Am I the asshole for focusing on my son instead of my daughter? I 41 am married to my wife Lisa, 45F. We have 2 kids, Jenny and George, fake names, 16 and 14. Yesterday, I had a work conference almost 4 hours away, and apparently missed a large fight. When I got home, there was a very large dent in the roof of my wife's car. I asked what happened, and I was told that George's medal hit it, so he had been grounded. I was confused, because George thinks of his medals like his babies, and so turned to him to ask what happened. Lisa told me to let Jenny speak first, since she wasn't the one who dented the car. I disagreed, and asked George to explain. George told me that it was Jenny who threw his medal out of the window, and Jenny shouted that there was context. George also started shouting that no amount of context made things better and she didn't get to touch all his things. I told them both to go to their rooms, so I could talk to Lisa. George was still mad, saying that Lisa had only asked Jenny what happened, but went to his room. Lisa told me that Jenny went into George's room, looking to borrow his headphones. George did not want to give Jenny his headphones, but agreed. Then Jenny asked where they were, at which point George called her a bunch of rude names, and told her she could look for them herself. Jenny proceeded to do that, and found a drawer of his medals, and then decided to tease him by dangling them out of the window, but when George tried to stop her, it fell out. I asked why Jenny had not also been grounded, and Lisa argued that it was his stuff and he was responsible for it. I didn't agree with this argument, but tensions were high, so I decided to go talk to George instead, since I guessed he'd be hurting. George told me his own version of events, which sounded in my opinion a bit more believable, and I spent about an hour comforting about his medals and that no, Lisa was not playing favorites, and yes, he can keep his stuff. This morning Lisa told me I should have spent an equal amount of time with both children to dispel the favoritism idea, and I was an asshole for not talking to Jenny as well. I don't know. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Lisa argued that it was his stuff and he was responsible for it. So, according to your wife Lisa's logic, if you were to take one of her high-heeled shoes and use it to smash all the windows in the house, or scratch the paint on the car, then all the damage would be her responsibility, because it was her shoe that caused the damage? Wow. George told me his own version of events, which sounded in my opinion a bit more believable. Info: please include the whole story here. Not the asshole. The son is in trouble because the daughter damages the car with his items? Okay, that's messed up. It sounds like the wife favors the daughter and is being a little hypocritical. Jenny shouldn't be in George's room and touching his stuff, and definitely not throwing stuff out the window. Your wife definitely is showing favoritism to your daughter. You either don't see your wife's favoritism or straight up lying about it existing. Also going to knock you for not talking to Jenny about what happened. You want the whole story. You need to talk to everyone because the truth will always lie somewhere amidst the different point of views. You only had the wife's skewed second-hand version of Jenny's and George's. You should have gotten Jenny's first-hand account. Not the asshole. The only one seeming to be taking sides is your wife here. She is letting off Jenny the hook with no admonishment, much less punishment. This falls under the doctrine, if not for the fact that Jenny hadn't taken out the medal and teased your son, it wouldn't fallen out the window onto the car. Your wife is clearly punishing the wrong person, period. The heart of your problem is your wife playing favorites to your kids. Neither of you bothered to hear out both children. It seems like both of you have a clear favorite. Am I the asshole for refusing to give my niece what she wants for her birthday? Yesterday, we had a big family gathering, which meant my older sister, 29, and her daughter, 6, came over. For half of the day, everything was well and good. After lunch, my sister got tired, so I, 27F, volunteered to look after my niece when my sister took a nap. Now, I have a collection of stuffed animals and 20 centimeters, 7.8 inches for those in America, dolls, which I let my niece play with when her mother napped. Then my sister woke up, joined us, and we spent some more time together before she announced it was time for them to leave. This was when my niece pointed at the doll I was holding and said she liked him, and that she wanted me to give him to her. I told her that she could get any other doll and or stuffed animals that she wanted from my collection, just not this one. My niece got really upset and started crying, saying that her birthday was coming, it's next week, and she wanted that doll as her birthday present. Again, I told her I couldn't give him to her, explaining to her he was very important to me. I didn't tell my niece in detail about why he is important to me, because she's still too young to understand, but I will explain it here to give a clearer picture. I've had this doll for a long while now, back in the darkest time of my life, when nothing seemed to go right for me. I was advised to find an outlet, letting out my thoughts either in the form of writing or drawing. One of my drawings was the design for the doll in this post. I spent a lot of time with it, shading it, coloring it and all that. Then I got the idea of turning the drawing into something physical. I searched and eventually found someone I trusted that could help me with this. For months, we worked together, choosing the materials, fabrics and threads to make my doll's body, hair and eyes. A lot of money was spent. But the process helped my mind be in a better place, and the result was so worth it. I was so happy the day I had him in my hands, and since then, he has been my emotional support doll. I don't know if it's strange, but whenever I look at him, I just feel like I can overcome everything. So yes, he's very important to me. My sister told me maybe it was time for me to let go of him. Again, I told them I could give my niece any other dolls and stuffed animals she wanted, just not this one. My niece cried harder and started screaming. My sister told me I was being an overgrown child, that I needed to act my age and stop clinging to a toy. It ended with her leaving with my still crying niece, telling me that I needed to prioritize my family over a doll. Am I the asshole? You might consider a sale place to hide him when they're visiting. Does your sister have a key to your house? Not the asshole. My sister told me maybe it was time for me to let go of him. Again, I told them I could give my niece any other dolls and stuffed animals she wanted, just not this one. My niece cried harder and started screaming. My sister told me I was being an overgrown child, that I needed to act my age and stop clinging to a toy. It ended with her leaving with my still crying niece, telling me that I needed to prioritize my family over a doll. Maybe your sister needs to teach her child she can't have everything she wants when it belongs to someone else. It's called correcting your child. It's basic parenting. Hide your doll. Do not leave it unprotected in your house, or there's a good chance it will disappear for good. In fact, since you're staying with your parents, I would just put a lock on your door, and don't give anyone a key. Not the asshole. Your niece needs to be taught that she can't have everything she wants, or she's going to grow into an absolute monster. Sounds like your sister already has her on that path. She can't just demand other people's things. That's never okay, and she's old enough to learn that not everything is hers for the taking. She also needs to be taught that other people's needs and wants have to be considered, too. She wants the doll because she likes it, but she doesn't have any kind of deep connection to the doll. You need it because it is a comfort item you rely on. Needs trump wants. Not the asshole. You're under no obligation to give up anything to your niece, much less something that has so much meaning for you. It honestly sounds like she's spoiled, and your sister doesn't know how to tell her child no. Your sister is 100% an asshole for telling you to act your age and stop clinging to a toy. Not only are her statements nonsense, but she's trying to shame you and emotionally manipulate you. The statement about you needing to prioritize family over a doll is also extremely hypocritical of her, as she's clearly not prioritizing your feelings. I sincerely hope you don't give in and that you take precautions such that your sister and her daughter don't get access to the toy when you're not present. Not the asshole. Sister needs to teach daughter that she may not get everything she wants sometimes. I'm sorry you are having to feel this way about something so special to you. Am I the asshole for refusing to change my dinner plans based on my son's GF? IF, 39, have a frugal lifestyle. Most of the food I feed my family is grown on our farm or harvested from the woods. This causes many of our meals to be some sort of game or egg, seasonal vegetables and some cheese. My son Jasper told me yesterday he is bringing his new girlfriend Emily, 19, to dinner and that she is vegan and on an alkaline diet. The diet is extremely restrictive and my meal plan which is meticulously planned for dinner was pork chops, potatoes, corn and a salad. After research I asked Jasper if it's okay if I just made her a side of some alkaline vegetables because the diet is unaffordable for me. When I told Jasper he started getting upset and saying I was not accepting and that I shouldn't be making any meat out of respect so I told him to not bring her over he became very upset. Am I the asshole? Nah, if you can't afford it, then you can't afford it. Nobody can expect you to throw a fancy meal and then go hungry for the rest of the week cause you went over your budget. But I do understand the son as well, as it would be awkward and unwelcoming to single out new girlfriend with a small dish. Consider meeting without food, just drinks, not necessarily alcoholic, just watery stuff, and small snacks, instead of a big meal? Your son is the asshole here. Does he ever cook? He needs to pay for the ingredients and cook the meal if he wants something elaborate. Most vegans are very understanding and appreciate any effort to accommodate them. Depending on your area, a restaurant with vegan options might be a better option, but that's also expensive. Don't blame the GF. Your son is at fault. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your son can go out and buy the ingredients for a vegan dish and make it himself if it's important to him. Expecting you and your family to cater a meal to one individual is unreasonable. You offered to make his girlfriend alkaline vegetables as a compromise. When I told Jasper he started getting upset and saying I was not accepting and that I shouldn't be making any meat out of respect so I told him to not bring her over he became very upset. He'll get over it. What is an alkaline diet? Vegan with a dusting of lithium? Not the asshole. I was vegan for years and vegetarian now, and I'm always grateful when someone makes sure I'm accommodated, especially in advance like this. I've always held that I can't tell people what not to cook in their own homes, and the request to cook no meat may not have come from the girlfriend. Clarify that with your son. A plate of your farm fresh vegetables sounds divine. My son has life-threatening allergies to a bunch of stuff. Sesame, all nuts, eggs, certain yeasts, so his diet is very restricted. Whenever we are invited anywhere to eat, we bring his meal. Every time. If you have restricted diet, especially by choice, it's on you to bring what you can eat. Am I the asshole for refusing to buy my daughter another phone and ruining her life? I have a daughter 14 female and she's pretty clumsy. We bought her an iPhone 13 Pro a couple years ago. She broke hers just months after getting it. Thankfully we had Apple Care and managed to get it repaired. Now she again broke her phone, this time after it accidentally fell off her hand at a friend's house while she was playing a video game. The phone is too badly damaged now. She is now begging for an iPhone 15. Unfortunately, it's no longer covered by insurance, meaning we will have to buy a new phone. We just spent a lot of money on a gaming PC and an iPad for her 14th birthday. I don't really want to spend more money on electronics and smartphones for her especially. A new iPhone would cost $1,000. She's also broken it once already, and I feel I'll be rewarding this behavior if I buy her another phone, as she still seems to be clumsy. I made a deal with her that if she keeps her iPad for a year without breaking it, I'll buy her a new phone the next year. She's now complaining that I'm going too far and that I'm ruining her life, and that she needs an iPhone. She does still have a smartphone, but she complains about it being slow and a bad camera. She's currently using her sister's old Redmi Note 11. It's working well, but it isn't as cool as her iPhone. But I am wondering if I should just get her another iPhone and if I'm going too far with the punishment. Am I the asshole? Edit. I got a comment about why I didn't get my older daughter an iPhone, as we both got them phones at around the same time. The reason I got her a lower-end phone was she didn't want an iPhone. We got her an Apple Pencil for her iPad and a nice telescope along with the phone for her birthday that time. Not the asshole. If she absolutely needs a phone for something, get her a refurbished one, an iPhone SE, or a base-level iPhone 15. Or hell, if you have an older phone, get yourself a new one and give her your old one. A 14-year-old does not need a new iPhone Pro. Edit. All of the comments replying that are saying the same exact thing. She doesn't need an iPhone or a smartphone at all. I get it. You don't have to keep saying the same thing over and over. I meant from the parent's perspective, if their child having a smartphone, any smartphone, was using iPhone as shorthand, for video calls, location tracking, etc. is useful from their perspective. Not the asshole. I have dropped my phone a ton of times, including accidentally kicking it across a road. Now mine is an 11, but it has lasted from release day without actually breaking it. I'll be honest, my phone before lasted 4 years with the same treatment, until the day it actually got run over, which it still worked but was shattered to pieces. Does she not have a screen protector or case? How is she breaking it? You have created this monster. Instead of starting her 11-year-old self with a family hand-me-down or refurbished older generation phone, you went out and bought her the then current iPhone Pro. This was your mistake. Now you've doled out both a gaming system and an iPad for her birthday. When you make stuff like this magically appear for your kid, they take it for granted that they are entitled to whatever electronics they want. So of course she's not grateful for her sister's old phone. There's still time to right the ship. Have her do chores to earn money for a refurbished iPhone 13, same model she had before, and nowhere near $1,000 these days since it's not the newest generation. Not the asshole. Unless she was playing video games on the roof or up in a high treehouse and dropped it, that phone had some extra help breaking. I've dropped my iPhone on a hard surface from about 6 feet up and it only got a small scratch on the case corner it landed on. She probably thought if she broke her phone beyond repair you would buy her a new one. I had to ask, does she not use phone cases? I got my son, 13, an iPhone 14 earlier this year. He's pretty rough with his electronics and I know that, so I stressed the importance of being careful with this phone, and got him a really sturdy drop-proof case and a tempered glass screen protector. He's dropped his phone a couple times, but because of the case, it's perfectly intact. Regardless, she can keep whining. Her life is not being ruined, she's being a dramatic and spoiled teenager. Not the asshole. Tell her she can get another iPhone when she gets a part-time job to pay for it. Not the asshole. Your daughter is just being a typical overly dramatic teenager. If she wants a new phone, she can earn the money to buy one herself.